Alright, so what is good? My name is Maisam Latif. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Irvine, California. First off, sorry about the poor quality and the lighting and a few of the sounds. Uh, but yeah, I just wanted to quickly get a video out to you, and my phone was low on space, so I thought, this would be the best way for you to get an idea of what I'm about and a little bit about myself. So going forward, going off the question you sent in your text. I'm from Orange County, specifically Irvine, like I mentioned, and my parents are originally from Afghanistan. They are refugees of the war. After the Soviet invasion in the early 80s of Afghanistan, they had to leave and took refuge for a few years in Pakistan and eventually moved to the Netherlands, where my brother was born. In around 96, they moved to California, where we settled, and I was born and where I've grown up the majority of my life. I lived in Northern Virginia in DC for half of my senior year, half of this year, but other than that, I've been here and I've traveled to various places. So yeah, going on to the questions, just to get right into it. Is it hard to be Muslim and American? I think that's an interesting question, because for me, I don't think it's hard to be Muslim and American, primarily because I'm tall, and I've known to be like on more of the athletic side. I've been playing soccer for most of my life, and I have interest in film, and my friends are mostly American. Where I'm from is a diverse community, so I think that played a big role in the fact that it has not been hard for me growing up. When I was younger, I think it was a little more difficult for me, but now, especially once I entered high school and I started, gaining certain friends, I think that became much easier. However, I think for women that wear the hijab, it is much more difficult because they're portraying that image of being a Muslim, and unfortunately, that comes with a lot of difficulties because of the society that is the society we live in nowadays, where Muslims are looked down upon. So I think, for me specifically not, however, for a lot of Muslims, and I've heard so many stories about Muslims personally and around my life who have been targeted, and I'll go into that a little later, like another one of your questions. So what do I love about being Muslim? So I think that's an interesting question as well, because there's a few things. The first being that it's such a diverse community, and so many different types of cultures are able to come and connect under one specific religion. And I think that's a beautiful thing. However, another thing is that it takes a lot of discipline to be Muslim, and it takes a lot of passion and hard work, and you have to really have a certain level of faith and commitment into the religion and the different practices that come with it. So I think that's a beautiful thing. I wish I could be better at that, and that's something I'm always going to try to work for. But yeah, that's what I do love about being a Muslim. What are the misconceptions about being Muslim? I think there's a lot of obvious misconceptions. Obviously, very, very negative misconceptions that I really, really hope that over the course of my life, I'm 17 years old now, but by the time I'm 70, I hope these misconceptions change. For example, misconceptions that all Muslims are terrorists, when in fact the terrorism that is seen around the world, those groups like ISIS or Al Qaeda, for example, the primary terrorist groups that claim to be Muslim, those are not, in my opinion, those are not actually practicing Muslims, because they're committing acts that deeply contradict the roots of Islam, and what it really means to be a Muslim. So for that reason, those misconceptions I hope to change, and really I hope to have an impact on over the course of my life. Have I ever been targeted or attacked for being Muslim? Like I mentioned earlier, there have been examples where I've been looked down upon, or where I've had conversations where people really put me I guess target me for being Muslim. I've never been physically abused for being Muslim, but I've definitely been verbally abused. But however, I do know family members and close relatives or friends that have been physically targeted and attacked for being Muslim, and I think these stories deserve to be heard and deserve to be shared. There's so many stories, not only around my life, but around the lives of many Muslims, and a lot of people compare this whole what's going on with Muslims nowadays to the civil rights movement, and I have my own opinion on that, and I don't want to get into that too much right now, but I think Muslims are being deeply, deeply misunderstood in this religion, and I don't think to the certain level of how the certain prejudice African Americans or the certain struggle African Americans face, but I definitely over the course of this year specifically, I'll get into that. You know why this year specifically, because I wasn't growing up around the time of 9/11, but this year specifically is that I've definitely understood the pain and struggles that African Americans have faced. But yeah, I don't want to go into that right now. I just want to keep this as brief as possible. What have you heard about Donald Trump, and how does that make you feel? Now, Donald Trump is an interesting man. Donald Trump, like, for me, honestly, I get sick of talking about Trump, I guess, because it's so, I'm sure a lot of people feel this way now, but it's been talked about so much, and it's a reality now because he is our president. I think a year ago, I never thought it would be possible, but he's our president now, and it's a reality we have to face. But I definitely don't agree with on a lot of things about Trump, and I've studied in my government class as a senior. We've studied the executive orders and how he's targeted Muslims specifically, and I think as a president and the commander-in-chief of our nation, I think that's very un-American, and it contradicts the constitutionality of American discourse and narrative of our founding fathers, what they set forth. Neil Gorsuch, the dean of law at UCI, actually came to our school, and I attended his discussion and his panel. Neil Gorsuch is a big law expert on constitutionality, on the Constitution, and he also agreed with this point, saying that a lot of what is in the executive order is unconstitutional, straight up. So I can go on that forever, I feel like, but Donald Trump, straight up, like, he definitely does not make me feel good, and I think a lot of Muslims and Americans alike feel the same way. Would I think it would help if